Hi, Peter Hudson here. This video is a tutorial on how to get XCSoar operational with all of its features and working within the virtual reality world. So I hope if you're one of those few people out there that have this problem and would like to figure out how to solve it, please enjoy this video. So XPlane is going to be running on your PC, and it's going to be communicating with a Python interface plugin. And then that plugin is going to be running a script that's the PI TCP GPS.py. And that script is going to use data refs from XPlane and build the MkII sentences and send them out over a TCP connection to XCSoar. XCSoar will be running on the same desktop machine if you want to be able to use MkII. If not, you can probably run it on any computer in your home network. You just need to know what the IP address is for it. And so we'll be running XCSoar on the desktop. It'll be getting sentences from XPlane through those interfaces. Then we'll use MoveVR to grab that one window and make it visible in the XPlane cockpit. So let's get started. We're going to do the Python interface first. We need to get that if you don't already have it. So we have, this is from xpluginsSDK.org, and I'll include links to these things in my video description. And you'll want to download the appropriate Python interface. I use the Python 2.7 interface.zip. We'll save that to the downloads directory. You know, while we're here collecting things, let's collect all the download files we need. This is the XPlane MkII to TCP plugin. It's kind of a mouthful. I'll include, like I say, I'll include links to all these things so you won't have to remember that. And the way you get this file is you click right here and you'll find a clone or download button. We'll do download. I'm not going to sign up right now. Same thing with XCSoar. This is XCSoar.org. Good download data files. There's extra files in here you can use to set things up. I'll let you figure out on your own and through other people's tutorials how best to set it up for your area. But what you do need for today's purposes is for you to collect the desktop version of XCSoar. So I'm going to get that. And then you'll need MoveVR. We'll get that from xplane.org. We'll download that file. Alright, so in my downloads directory I should now have everything I need. That looks pretty good. We can extract them. Let's start this process by looking at the Python interface. There's a folder, Python interface. You'd want to extract that out. You also need XPlane 11 wherever you have that installed. And you want to go to, this is true with all of these plugins, you'll go to resources. So it's XPlane 11, resources, plugins. And typically to add a resource, all you need to do is drag that folder over and drop it in. I already have mine set up, so I'm not going to do that. And you can see it sitting right here, Python interface. You may have already had this. If you have the thermal sim, for example, you needed to install the Python interface. But I'm going to assume you didn't, so you'll drag that in there. So now this part's covered. You should have this interface in there and working, and you can test it now if you want. the next thing we need to do is put this one Python script in there. So our Python, in our plugins, we have a Python interface. Here's where the Python scripts go. And you'll see I already have mine in here. You'll extract your file, you'll put it in here. You won't see some of these darker ones. This happens during the process of running. These are just compiled versions of that script. One thing you need to do with this particular script, and this is important, is you need to open it. I'll edit it with idle just because that's what I'm used to when I work with Python. And if you look right here, it says edit here, your host and port. So this one line you need to set up for your home network system. And if you're not sure, what you can do is just open a command line and type ip config, and it'll show you your IP address for this machine you're running on right here. So you'll type that in here. Make sure you keep your quotes and everything. And then there's a port number, and in this case I'm using 4353. Assume that's right for now, and we'll check that later when we're looking at XCSoar. So 4353 and your particular host IP address. All right, so we've put that in and we can close it, but I want to show you something. This is way down here. This is the difference between using XCSoar through a serial port and using it through TCP. The serial port message that comes out of XPlane doesn't include the pressure data that you need for your barometer and vario and a lot of the features that XCSoar will offer. So Alex Ferrer modified this script to include the extra information that you need to get full utility out of XCSoar. So now the MkII sentence that comes out has all the stuff you want. So anyway, thank you for that. That is why we want to do the TCP connection instead of the serial connection. All right, so where are we? We've got our Python interface in. We've put our Python script in the correct directory, and we've modified it to be pointing to XCSoar, or at least pointing to a port on our PC. And we have the right kind of MkII sentences coming out. So now let's take a look at XCSoar. We had that in our downloads directory. One thing about it, the first time you run it, since this is just an executable and Windows doesn't know from whence it came, it'll maybe throw up this error saying, hey, be careful. If you click the More Info button, it'll say, here's who it's from, but we don't know the publisher, and you can say run anyway. And so that's the A thing that might come up. You can see I already have mine on my desktop, so we should be good to go there. Now XCSoar has a lot of configurations you might want to do. Let's get this out of the way and I'll kind of show you. So let's go look at XCSoar. You can go in with just simulation. Here we have the default. This is yours probably won't look exactly like this. I already have mine set up the way I like to fly when I'm paragliding. And if you go into the config, devices, here's what you need to set up. So there can be a variety of things here. It might be on COM something, or it might be disabled. What you want is TCP port. So you select that. Now you'll notice the port. Here's your 4353. XCSoar has a few of them listed in here. So if you're having some conflict with this one, you can pick a different one and go change that in your Python script. I found this to work just fine on mine, so I'm going to leave it alone. All right, so that's all you really need there. So what do we have? We have XCSoar is now configured. MoveVR, that's the last step. If you have your MoveVR folder, and as you recall, if you want to add that plugin, come on, open up, here we go. If you want to add that plugin, you'll go to Resources, Plugins, and you'll just drag that folder right into that directory, and you see I already have mine in there. That should be all you need to do to complete this loop. So let's get it running. So the first thing I'll do is set up XCSoar. Now we want to pick fly because we want it to believe we're actually going flying. And you'll see it says GPS not connected, and it doesn't have any information to display, and that's because it's not getting anything out of XPlane at this point. So we'll run XPlane. The last 4 minutes or so of this tutorial, I'll be flying the Klingberg Mark II flying wing with XCSoar in my lap, and you'll have a chance to see some of its features in operation. All right, so XPlane's running. Now I need to go into VR because until I have a plane loaded and it starts the sim, it's not going to get any information going to XCSoar. But then I'm going to come back out and just show you some stuff, so sit tight. All right, so I've crawled back out of VR world. You can see I've set myself down here. This flight, I'm starting at Garlock, which is a hang glider flying site. Maybe you can see here on top of the mountain. You can see now I'm getting my GPS information. I'm also getting things like my barometric altitude, so I can get HGL. These are the things that were missing before. One of the things about using this in VR is it's XCSoar is designed for reading gestures on the screen, which you really can't do effectively in VR. So if you want to set up a flight, it's probably better to come back, do it before you get busy. So for example, if I want to do nav, I might go to my waypoint list, and maybe I'll set up a flight from Garlock to MkII. And just do a go to. All right, so MkII is a nearby airport. I live up in Ridgecrest. So I'm on top of a nice mountain here, and we'll try and do a short cross country, a little 16.7 mile cross country to the MkII airfield. So now that this is set up and ready to navigate, I'll go back into VR and bring this window using Move VR into my lap. Okay, so select Plugins, Move VR, Manage Windows, find your XCSoar window, select Best Quality because it's best, Move VR, and then find someplace convenient to put this window. All right, I'm going to walk over to the edge next. Maybe 10 degrees of flaps, make my takeoff a little easier. You really should experience this in VR. There's nothing quite like running off the edge of something. XCSoar will be able to make its alert sounds. You'll hear them fine through your headsets. You can interact with the buttons, acknowledge airspace warnings, that sort of thing. You just can't make gestures on the screen like to change waypoints and that sort of thing easily. Alright, if I compare that to the XPad map, I'll first have to try and find myself. But there's just a whole lot of information that's missing. Things about what kind of glide I need to get to my next waypoint. So I'm just going to tuck that out of the way for now. I'm working ridge lift here, but I'm going to do a few circles so you can see the way XCSoar changes to a thermal display, or different page of information if it detects your circling. It'll have a thermal assistant and things that'll help you with your climb. There we go, it's changed, it's zoomed in, it's showing my track. The green shows I'm going up. There's a thermal assistant in the lower left-hand corner. You can see things like the total climb for this session of circles, sort of what my average climb rate is, and just other things that generally make it helpful for trying to optimize your climbs. So I'm going to work this lift for a while, get a bit further over the top, and then head north to the next ridge. You can just see it up in front of us there. I'll go work that ridge for a while, get some altitude, and make the run for Inyo Curve.